The origins of your morning tea are quiet. High-altitude mountain estates are defined by slow growth and rolling fog. But the global consumer market waiting for those leaves is massive, fast, and relentlessly demanding. The friction between those two worlds starts the exact second a tea leaf is severed from the living plant. Once plucked, it immediately starts dying. The clock starts immediately. Workers have a strict 5 to 7 hour window to get the raw leaves to a processing facility before cellular degradation permanently ruins the batch. Inside the factory, machines hit the leaves with heat and physical force. They wither, roll, and dry the harvest, chemically stabilizing the vulnerable plant into what the industry calls made tea. This stabilization stops the immediate biological decay, but it only hits pause, buying time for a much longer, far riskier countdown before that leaf ever reaches a cup. Tea remains a highly perishable agricultural product, highly sensitive to its environment. Yet, the global supply chain designed to deliver it operates at a painfully slow pace. From harvest and processing, it routinely takes between 6 and 12 months to reach a retail shelf. This gap results from massive geographic distances and intermediary choke points. Leaves travel thousands of miles, changing hands between estates, brokers, packagers, and exporters. The traditional tea trade operates on a 400-year-old logistical framework. It is an infrastructure built entirely to move massive commodity volumes without any regard for velocity. 70% of the world's tea does not go straight from the factory to a shipping port. Instead, it gets diverted into a massive midstream bottleneck, the central auction houses. Here, human tea brokers act as ultimate gatekeepers of the traditional supply chain, holding the power to dictate the economic value of every single harvest. These brokers rely on strict sensory evaluation. They visually inspect the dry leaf and taste the brewed liquor, judging its quality against current global demand. This subjective, sample-based tasting dictates the starting valuation for the massive international bulk buyers. If the broker doesn't value it, the tea doesn't move. While the auction system ensures producers receive fair market pricing, it inherently adds weeks of bureaucratic delay to a product that is already losing its freshness. Once the tea clears the auction, it usually hits the water. Cargo ships are the primary vehicle for moving tea across international oceans. The economic incentive here is undeniable. Moving full container loads, standardized steel shipping boxes packed with cargo, drops the transport price to just pennies per kilogram. But that low cost requires a sacrifice in time. Sea transit takes anywhere from 10 to 60 days, exposing the cargo to severe environmental risks. This diagram of a container's cross-section shows the 4 enemies of tea at work. Temperature fluctuations bake the leaves, moisture droplets breed mold, light degrades essential oils, and the tea easily absorbs foreign odors from shared cargo space. Sea freight perfectly optimizes the cost per unit for massive retail blenders. In exchange, the consumer accepts a stale, aromatically compromised brew. There is a modern logistical alternative to preserve peak freshness: international air freight. This chart compares both options. Sea freight is cheap, but incredibly slow. Air freight cuts transit to mere days, but fuel and infrastructure make it 10 times more expensive. Thus, air transport remained restricted to ultra-premium specialty teas, or emergency supply chain bypasses. Aviation clearly solves the biological decay problem, but its prohibitive cost kept it from replacing the traditional maritime model. That barrier held until the data revolution. Over the last decade, a new wave of direct-to-consumer tech brands began dismantling this 400-year-old colonial supply chain. Looking at this network map, you can see how they eliminate the midstream bottleneck entirely. They bypass the traditional auction houses and source directly from the estates. To pull this off, they rely on predictive inventory. AI precisely forecasts customer demand, replacing subjective human guesswork. Because AI forecasting is highly accurate, it eliminates the cost of holding unsold inventory. The capital saved offsets the high financial risk of booking cargo flights. By trading the middleman's commission for algorithmic logistics, these brands successfully navigate around the strict economic limitations of the global tea trade. The final stage of this new model keeps the product close to the source. The tea is packaged in-house near the gardens, then injected directly into global e-commerce fulfillment networks. This compresses the massive garden-to-cup timeline. A process that traditionally took up to 12 months is slashed down to exactly 7 days. This tech-driven supply chain also forces transparency. Consumers no longer buy an anonymous blend. They get exact details, like the specific origin, the mountain elevation, and the exact harvest date. Bypassing the traditional trade network secures higher margins for the companies, but the ultimate beneficiary is the consumer, who finally gets to experience the uncompromised value of a fresh tea leaf.